there, welcome back to every NG, and today I have something really sizzling for you. Trust me, you want to watch this video. But before I get on with the video, I want to wish you a happy Workers' Day. Yes, today is for celebrating workers, including myself. Yes, happy Workers' Day, and I just want to celebrate you for working so hard to make sure that you make something out of your life, to make sure that you have food on your table. We know how the country is now, and it's just worth celebrating that despite everything that is happening, you're still pushing, you're still trying to make sure that, look, my life is worth living. So happy Workers' Day to you. Now let's get on to the video. Now remember I said that I had sizzling gist. For about 2 weeks now, almost 2 weeks, we've had something in the industry, the Nollywood industry, movie industry, I beg your pardon, and it has been ravaging social media. Everybody is talking about it, everybody is giving their 2 cents, and I know you know what I'm talking about, but if you're not sure what it is, I need you to just watch this video. I will be giving the updates on that later on in the video. But in light of this scandal that has made its way to the industry, especially the Yoruba industry, I decided why not bring the top scandals in the Yoruba movie industry to you. Yes, I'm bringing you the top scandals of the industry, and we're going to kick off that list with Babajide, who was born Babatunde Omidino. Now, Babajide was on everybody's screen. Everybody knows Babajide, even young kids, because his face made it as a meme. His facial expressions have been used on Twitter, just all over the internet. There's this really hilarious one that he was wearing a hat and I was like, so shocked. So people really know this guy, and some people idolize him. I mean, he was a hilarious actor, he was an MC, a comedian, he was just all those amazing things. However, he found himself in a drug trafficking situation with the NDLEA. Now let me give you the lowdown of how this happened. Sometime in 2014, he was traveling to France, and while he was at the international airport, how they usually scan. So while they were scanning, they scanned him, and they found substances that were suspected to be hard drugs, particularly cocaine, in his system. Now maybe it was an accident or something, so he was taken aside and scanned a second time, and the same substances were seen in his system, and then he was quickly apprehended, taken into custody. He was interrogated and like, look, I don't have anything in my system, I don't know what you're talking about. Now, after being held in custody for days and giving different things to make sure that he, excretes whatever it is, he just pushes out whatever it is that is in his system, nothing came out, and he was eventually released on bail. Now, while this case was going on, a lot of people had their thoughts, had their 2 cents, they had their things to say about it. People are like, how is it even possible that this machine is telling a lie? Like, he's claiming he doesn't have anything in his system, but yet these people are saying we saw something, and they are experts. So what exactly is going on here? Well, eventually after he was released, people were like, oh my god, thank god, he was innocent. I always believed he was innocent. And other people are like, are you sure this man didn't use something diabolical? How is it that they were so sure that they saw something, and yet nothing came out of his system? Well, his lawyer was like, they didn't see anything, so please release my client. After this, he even went ahead to sue the NDLEA to the tune of 25 million naira for damages. Regardless of how the situation went, whenever Babajide's name is mentioned, somehow, somewhere along the line, this drug case comes up, and it's just something that's going to keep trailing for a long time, which is why it made it to our list of scandals, of course. Now, moving on from that, we have the next person on our list being Shehu Egbegbe. You know that song, iPhone 1, leg back, Mr. Rim, iPhone 1, you'll be dancing shaku shaku too, you'll be doing leg work. You don't know the origin of that song, do you? Now, for the longest time, so many of us felt, oh, it's just vibes, it's just a song, we were just singing about it. Even me, myself, I was like, why did iPhone 1 come to this guy's mind? Well, I will be giving you a link to that quickly. Now, Shehu Egbegbe was a big wig in the industry. He was a producer, filmmaker, he used to make amazing movies. He was a big guy, someone that was held in high esteem. He was a socialite. People paid him respect. Now, just somewhere along the line in his career, he was arrested. Now, he was arrested for stealing 9 iPhones. I know this sounds really like, okay, how? 9 iPhones? Did he go to somebody's house? Well, according to the reports, Shehu went to Alaba Market of all markets. He went there, and he went into the store and said, okay, I want to get 7 iPhone 6 phones, and I also want to get 2 iPhone 7 devices, And I'm sure the person, the reception was like, oh my god, I don't cash out today. 9 iPhones, only me on my account. And I really don't know how this was, because the report said that after taking the phones, he just dashed off, like he ran into a waiting jeep. And I was just imagining in my head, like, he's like, okay, bring the phones. And then the girl is trying to make her smile, just running away from it. I'm just like, how does this even work? So quickly, the lady raised alarm, and people, you know how these market guys are, they will run faster than your car. Are willing, once they say ole, they are in front of your car before you even get to the express. They are there waiting for you. So they chased after him, they caught him, beat him to a pulp. If you see his pictures, you will not even know that he has teeth, just blood everywhere. And then he was bundled into the police van and taken to the station. Now along the line again, after this dust kind of settled, or did it even ever settle? I don't think so. He was also arrested for, in 2017, this was in 2017, he was arrested for defrauding almost 40 bureau de change operatives. Now, I'm like, how is it that you're defrauding 40 people, not one person? And he also had like 3 people who were arrested as his accomplices. And this man was like the top of the town at some point because of the kind of movies he was making. He was making like top-notch movies. He was an A-lister in the industry. And people are like, how did you go from being this to a thief, like to a criminal? How does that even work? And the money we're talking about in this fraud case was not just 1 million naira. We're talking millions of naira, thousands of pounds. Just, I'm like, wait a minute, how does this even add up? Now, he was arrested, and the other 3 people who were arrested with him were released because they met their bail requirements. However, he did not meet his bail requirements, and he stayed in jail for a couple of months. He stayed in jail for a while, a few months. And you know, according to reports, because we haven't heard from him in a while since that situation happened, you know, he just went low-key, he just kind of disappeared from the internet, from the industry. And people are like, they've smuggled this man out of this place. He's not here again, he's now in America. So many rumors, but it was really sad to see him go that way. Someone who had like a thriving career just mess himself up. It was just a whole lot to deal with. Now let's move on from that. Let's talk about another actress in the industry, Yetunde Akinlapa. Now, this woman, I saw her, like, I used to, because I'm a big fan of Yoruba movies, and I used to see her, I'm like, I know this person. I didn't know her name at the time, but I knew her face, and she had a lot of ginger. You know, the ginger that, you know, people like Iyabo Ojo used to bring to their movies, or Toyin Aimaku, that kind of ginger, she had it. So I really felt like she was going to go far in the industry. However, she took this ginger and she just said, I'm not going to use it for movies anymore. Let me go into petty theft. Now, this lady was accused and even arrested multiple times for stealing. And the thing that even pissed so many people off was, what are you stealing? You're stealing weaves. You know, you're going into people's houses and sleeping off in their dining, like, what exactly is going on? Now, on more than 5 occasions, she was beaten, she was photographed, she was arrested for stealing, and on one occasion, she had like a bunch of keys with over 50 individual keys, and of course, they weren't for one door. You can't have 50 keys for one door. They were for several doors. There was a time she was caught trying to scale someone's fence because she couldn't access the gates. Now, this one that I said about her sleeping off on someone's dining table, she walked into someone's house on a Sunday morning, entered the house. I don't know what she was looking for, honestly, because even the owner of the house was confused, and she slept off on his dining table. And then the man came from church and saw someone on his dining table. He's like, what's going on here, guys? So quickly he raised the alarm. She was arrested, and eventually, after this dust settled with her arrest for a while, she was interviewed, and then, you know, she said, look, I don't know what this situation is. I think it's spiritual, because especially with that man who saw me on his dining table, I just found myself walking into his house. The gate wasn't locked, so I just went in, you know, freely. And I went to the dining, I was tired and I slept off. But however, you know, a strong pastor has prayed for me, and whoever sends this issue has gotten it back in their village. My village people, they've gotten their delivery. Now, I don't have any of these issues anymore. I'm now free. I'm ready to face my career. I don't know how well that has been going for her, because, of course, she has all these allegations. She has this whole scandal trailing her. So that was a lot, to be honest. It was just a whole lot. But let's move on from that to another actress, Lola Margaret. Now, this one was like a shock to everybody. It was like, boom, blow. Yeah, so Lola Margaret, you know, was in the industry. She was doing so well. She was in a lot of movies. If you are seeing like 10, you know, Yoruba movies, she's probably like 7 of them, somewhere, somehow, even as an extra, as a main cast. She was doing so well with her career. And then she moved to the US for a while, and nobody heard from her. She just went mute. People thought, okay, maybe she's focusing on something else. She doesn't want to do movies anymore. However, suddenly she just, her mugshots made it to the internet. We just saw her orange jumpsuits, face front, face side, face side. That was it. And people are like, oh my goodness, what exactly happened here? Now, according to the reports given by the police, she was arrested for a credit card scam. Now, this lady somehow had some fraudulent activities going on with her account, and so her account was placed on surveillance. Now, after that was placed on surveillance, maybe she didn't know that she was being watched carefully, and then she tried to make a withdrawal with that account, and immediately she was caught. And then she was arrested. She spent about 1 year in jail, and according to the police, she was released after she named her other accomplices. Yes, so she kind of had a deal with the police. I'll give you these people's names, you send me back to my country, JJ. So after her release, she was deported and just went low-key. Like, she just went, according to the report, she moved to Ibadan for a while, stayed there. When the dust settled, she now moved back to Lagos, but she hasn't really been in so many movies after that incident. And people are like, wow, how did this even happen? You are deported. How did this even happen? Okay, now the fifth person on our list is the person that has been trending for the longest time. I'm talking for almost 2 weeks, and it is Babajide, whose real name is Olarinwaju Omiyinka. Now, if you've been like a Nigerian who has been on the internet for the past, say, 10 to 14 days, you know that reports have it that Babajide allegedly molested a 14-year-old. Now, this is so hard for so many people to digest. It's even so hard telling you this because it's traumatic. It's something that nobody would have guessed, because this man was on our screens. He was such a great actor. He was funny. He was doing well in his industry, and he had a lot of big wigs in the industry as his, friends. He had those people at his beck and call. So it was really confusing how this situation made it to the internet. Now, for the longest time after the allegation was made, nobody said anything. People were like, okay, who is accusing him? Where is the video? Where is his confession? And finally, comedian Princess, I'm sure we know Princess, she came out to say, look, it was my foster child that was molested, and this is so painful because at the time she was 7. The first time it happened, it was 7, and this was even actually rape. It wasn't just, touching her inappropriately. And for the longest time, her immediate family and myself, we didn't even know what was going on. The girl was just misbehaving. She was failing out of school. So while her family thought, okay, this is spiritual, we need to pray about it, something in my mind, I had an inkling, according to Princess, that it was just more than spiritual. This girl was doing well before, and suddenly things just changed. Like, everything just went downhill for her. So I knew it was more than something spiritual. Now, while she was telling the story, she was in tears. I can only imagine how traumatic it is for her as a foster mother. We can't even go to the young lady who was a victim because that's just a different ballgame altogether. And just days ago, his confession video was released. And for the people who were having doubts, because the issue with a producer in the industry whose name is Yomi Fabiyi, now he went back and forth with Iyabo Ojo after he dropped a statement that made it look like he was defending Baba Ijesha. Iyabo Ojo was like, no, not on my watch. This is not going to happen while I'm alive. And she called him out. Now, with entertainment industry, when they're calling people out, like, somebody somewhere did that. Iyabo Ojo was like, you, Yomi, I'm calling you out. I'm calling all the people that liked your video, picture or video, whatever you posted. I'm calling all of you out. And she called, when you say Yomi, we can be like, oh, is it Yomi from Alaba? Is it Yomi Fabi? I am calling you out. That was how she made her video. And they went back and forth. Iyabo Ojo wasn't having it, and she's still not having it because she's still working so hard to make sure that this young girl gets justice. Now, like I mentioned earlier, his video dropped, his confession video dropped, and people are like, what? And the video was, for people who were seeing this on the internet, it was even very traumatic for us because while he was in the video, his belt was unbuttoned. There was just a whole lot of gory details, and I cannot even imagine what happened with that CCTV footage. And I just hope it stays wherever it is and doesn't make it to the internet, because watching that confession video, he was saying he's sorry, it was the devil, and people are like, devil is sitting down where he is. Leave him out of this. You did this yourself. He was asking for forgiveness, and you could hear Princess in the background. She was crying. She was like, why would you do this to me? I tried to help you. I almost even accommodated you in my house when we were having issues, save for the fact that I just separated from my husband, and I didn't want people to talk about, make it look like, oh, I'm with you now. Like, I gave you all the help that I could afford to give you at the time when we were having issues. Why would you turn around and do something like this to me. Like, it was so heartbreaking. Princess was in tears. She couldn't even stand straight for some time. Like, it was just a whole lot, and people have been talking about it. Some people are like, okay, he has been caught, people should stop talking about it on the internet, let the law take its course. And then updates on that, the police spokesperson said that his offense is bailable, so he can be bailed if someone meets the bail requirements. And Yaba was like, what? Now, just yesterday, she had like protests in front of the Panti prison. She's like, this man will not see sunlight though. He cannot see sunlight until justice is served, until he's given his jail term. You cannot tell me that, oh, child molestation is different from rape. Rape involves penetration. They are just the same thing. There is no excuse. He should not be bailed. He should not be on the streets, because who knows how many victims there are? Who knows how many people he's going to go on, like you're releasing him on bail. Somebody this wicked, somebody who has done something this heinous, you're releasing him to just walk around on the streets freely. No way. Now, Yaba is not the only person who is on this case. There are so many other actresses. Messi Aigbe is on it with her. Tonto Dike is on it. Tonto Dike is even saying, look, bring this to Abuja. These Lagos people, they are messing up. Bring it to Abuja. Let me handle this with my connect. So it's just really disappointing, and it was so sad to see him just there in the video on the ground begging for forgiveness. God, it's just a lot to deal with, honestly. And that's what we're currently facing in the industry. This is what is trending. Now, number 6 on our list is somebody that you would not expect. I'll give you 2 seconds to guess. 1, 2, okay, you can guess. Now, number 6 on our list is popular Nollywood, general Nollywood, like she does English movies, she does Yoruba movies as well, Sola. And people are like, no, it's not possible. How did this happen? Well, they're just allegations, but of course, you know how these scandals work. People will always dig up something like this about you. Now, according to this report, she was arrested in London for drug trafficking. And people are like, drugs? How? When? Where? Like, what exactly happened? But unlike Lola, her mugshot didn't make it to the news. People haven't really figured out who saw her, because the reports were like someone went to the prison and saw her there and brought the gist back to Nigeria, spread the gist. And for a while, she was in London, and people were like, oh my God, so she was pushing drugs. Now, there were so many reports that she had her hands cut off. She was arrested in Saudi Arabia as well. So many things made the news. And while none of them most of them are not confirmed, all of them are not confirmed, I would say, it's still something that continues to throw her name for a while. I mean, you might have to dig a little bit deeper to see it, but it's there. Now, when she came back to Nigeria, she was interviewed, and she was asked about the whole hand. Now, the woman is hilarious. I'll give her that one, because she was asked about having her hands chopped off and her head chopped off. I said, like, well, it's true. They chopped off my head. Actually, they did chop it off. But when I was coming back to Nigeria, I said, I'm a popular actress. So head, come back, and came back. Hands, come back, and they came back. So look at me here with my head and my hands. They just came back, but they were actually chopped off. Now, when she was asked about the arrest in London, she's like, look, I was arrested, but I told them, look, guys, I'm very popular, so release me. And they released me, so here I am. However, I want to put this out there, like this is her speaking, I'm just quoting. Whoever has evidence that I was in prison, or I had my head chopped off or my hands chopped off, should bring their evidence, and I will give them the sum of 1 million naira. Nobody has come forth with evidence, but people are still like, there's a little bit of truth, like there's no smoke without a fire. So somebody somewhere, saw you doing something you're not supposed to be doing. That is why this gist has reached us in Nigeria. It was a lot to deal with, because so many people fell in love with Sola from her role in King of Boys. She was like, she killed it. So people are like, Mama, are you acting from experience? What's going on here? But anyway, that's it with the list today. Thank you so much. I gave you these updates. I mean, most of them are not fun to give, to be honest, because this is just bad news all the way. But these are just the top scandals in the Yoruba Nollywood sect, and I hope you had fun receiving this. I hope you gained one piece of information or the other from this video. Until next time, my name is Judith, and this is brought to you by Every NG. Bye.